From the tank on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet presents NCAA Division II women's basketball coverage live on the ECC network. Today's matchup features the Lions of Molloy College taking on the College of Staten Island Dolphins in the back half of our men's and women's basketball doubleheader. It was the men of Molloy College picking up the victory over the College of Staten Island earlier in the day. They defeated the Dolphins 65-52 for the Lions. That improved their record on the season to 2-7. The Dolphins dropped to 2-6. CSI women's basketball comes in with a record of 2-3. For the Molloy College Lions, they come in with a record of 3-5. And once again, this is Joe Foreman rejoining you alongside my broadcast partner, TJ Tibbs, bringing you all the action live from center court. Lions win the tip, and we are underway from the College of Staten Island. We'll have the starting five for each side in just a moment. For the Dolphins, it is the normal starting five of Masinghe, Johnson, Alarcon, LaFaro, and Arvello. In the corner, that was Sophia Lee. She kicks it out with 5 to shoot. Time running out on Molloy, and they will not get a shot off as the Dolphins defense forces a shot clock violation.
And it's good to have our CSI women's team back on the schedule. Obviously, a couple of games were postponed, and they're back, and they get a shot clock violation in their first possession back. That's good to see for Coach Sarcone on the sidelines.
Dolphins will certainly have some fresh legs today, as we'll see if the layoff benefits them in that department. This is Johnson on the mid-range pull-up. That one way off and rebounded by the Lions.
And that's Kaya Johnson's shot. You're going to see her go to the mid-range, sort of like you see Chris Velasquez in the men's basketball game, but Kaya lives in the same spots, and that's a great shot for Kaya.
That last three-pointer off the mark by Janelle Moore. She is joined in the starting lineup by Sophia Lee, Cameron Corbett, Gabriella Espuru, and Maya Thomas, as that last attempt no good by the Dolphins, and we still await our first basket.
CSI in a 2-3 zone. You know, usually you don't see 2-3 zones from teams that don't have the length or the size underneath, but with the Dolphins having a short bench, you know, they're probably looking to stay out of foul trouble.
Three-pointer from the left corner, no good by Espuru, and it was laid back up and in on the follow by Sophia Lee. Lee with the game's first points, just shy of 2 minutes into the first quarter. As Masinghe drives, met with a double team. She has Alarcon on the kick out. Open three-pointer, too long off back iron, and rebounded by Espuru.
It's interesting. Both teams, you got Molloy dressing 8 and CSI dressing 9. Short benches for both teams, so it's going to be interesting to see the pace of play today for both teams and see how it affects with the benches.
Well, that jumped out immediately when I got my first look at this Molloy roster. Only 8 players with stats recorded this season. And as you said, TJ, 8 dressed for this game. And Dolphins nearly turned it over right there as Masinghe tracks it down with 20 to shoot. She drives and is rejected underneath by Espuru. Taking it inside was Moore. She dumped it off to Lee, and it's knocked out of bounds by CSI. Make that by Molloy, as a lot of traffic underneath. The Dolphins are awarded possession. And CSI inbounds with 7.5 minutes to play in the first. That one knocked away by Espuru and stolen by the Lions. Espuru will try a drop step in the post, and the Dolphins were having none of that move. As we have a technical foul. Looked like the referee pointed to Masinghe. We'll have to double check on that. We'll get the official announcement in a second. Well, check that as the technical was charged to Molloy. That's a technical foul assessed to Maya Thomas. So she got tangled up underneath, presumably with Masinghe, as it looked like the referee had pointed in that direction. And Arvello to the line for CSI, hits the first technical. Second technical free throw is too strong. Arvello with her best game of the season. Last time we saw the Dolphins play here against Nyack. Surpassed her field goal total from the entire season prior to that game by the start of the fourth quarter against the Warriors. Dolphins erased a deficit that grew to as much as 20 points in that game to pick up the victory. Our score 2-1, just shy of 3 minutes into the first quarter. This is Arvello. Drops it off to LaFaro. Masinge will try a three. That one off the rim, no good, and rebounded by the Lions.
First couple of possessions for CSI, you haven't seen a paint touch, so a lot of their threes have been coming from swinging the ball on the perimeter. CSI's got to look to try to attack that ball, get the ball into the paint.
And that layup not close by Lee off glass. She got stuck underneath the rim, but Masinge goes down and turns it over. Coming back the other way and throwing that one up and in was Cameron Corbett.
Staten Island native coming back to play in her hometown, and she gets her early bucket.
And we have a whistle at the other end of the floor. Another foul charged to Molloy. That was Janelle Moore picking up her first personal, the team's second. Arvello to inbound in front of the Molloy bench. She has Johnson. Johnson tried to drive baseline and kick it out, but that pass is knocked down and stolen. Comes Molloy back the other way. Fake by Thomas. Kick out. Lions swing it to the right wing. Open three-pointer by Moore. No good, and rebounded by Alarcon. Dolphins look to move the other way quickly, and that's a wild pass by Arvello. Timing just not there for the Dolphins right now, as that jump shot off back iron by Lee. Rebounded by Moore, and it's a fresh 20-second shot clock for the Lions.
I think it's an understatement if we say it's a little bit sloppy right now, looking like the beginning of the men's start.
On the drive was Corbett. She kicks it out, and now the Lions work it down into the corner. Cross-court pass for Moore, and once again, it did not appear as if Molloy had any idea the shot clock was winding down. Shot clock violation, the second of the game, forced by the Dolphins' defense, as Ashley Lambert quickly checks in for the first time.
Very rare that you see two shot clock violations for a team in a game, let alone in the first 4 minutes of the game. But there it is with CSI, a little bit doing great defense on their end, but also Molloy just not being aware of the shot clock.
Ashley Lambert into the game for Staten Island. I did say the Dolphins running out their usual starting five. That was an error, as Lambert has started all 5 games coming off of the bench in today's game. Noemia Masinge has started 3 of the Dolphins' 5 games. Kaya Johnson 2. LaFaro, Alarcon, and Arvello have started all 5 entering today's game, along with Lambert, who just checked in off the bench. Much like the men's team, the women getting stops early, but have had trouble putting the ball in the basket. Their only point coming from the line is that's another forced pass inside, and with the defense collapsing around a cutting Alarcon, they had Lambert wide open in the right corner. Arvello to inbound for Staten Island along the baseline. 15 to shoot. Arvello sends one out beyond the arc to Lambert. She's defended by Moore. This is Masinge, and she is called for traveling. And inside of 5 minutes, we have our first media timeout of the game. Our score, 4-1. Only 5 points scored in over 5 minutes. As this is first quarter coverage of NCAA Division II women's basketball, this East Coast Conference matchup continues after this break.
In NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
We can stop to make sure someone is okay. Get in the way and disrupt the situation.
Notify an authority.
Or walk them home safely.
We can change the language around rape.
We can make campuses safer for our teammates, our friends, and our classmates.
We cannot be bystanders.
Taking action isn't always easy, but it's on us
to intervene.
Because we can.
Learn more and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
And we are back from the tank. Dolphins trailing 4-1, just over 5 minutes into the first quarter. And we mentioned the layoff for the Dolphins over the last week or so, and that they may have the benefit of fresh legs this afternoon. However, the Dolphins' offense has come out completely stagnant, forcing passes and trying to dribble through a lot of traffic. That hasn't gone well for them to this point, as they are still in search of their first made field goal.
It looks like the Dolphins come out of timeout in a 2-2-1 press to see if they drop back into their 2-3 zone or they go to man-to-man. It looks like they go to their 2-3 zone. Molloy running something. Look for the ducking from number 11.
There it is. Feed toward the free throw line. Lions working it around the perimeter now. Need to be a bit quicker with those passes on the outside, as they do eventually get the ball into Lee, who finishes the left-handed hook.
Yeah, they look to run a set for Lee against the 2-3 zone. They didn't get something off that initial action, but they still got the intended result later on in the possession as we turn it over there.
Well, the Dolphins have made several reckless passes in this game, as Alarcon, at best, is facing a double team, potentially a triple team, even if she receives that ball. Timing just off for the Dolphins right now, and ill-advised passes becoming a theme here as the Dolphins get caught, not getting back, following the press, and laying it in uncontested was Maya Thomas.
And that's 2 baskets just coming out of the timeout. You know, we went to the 2-2-1 press. We went to the 2-2-1 press as we turn it over there. Molloy gets a turnover off their own press.
This is beginning to get ugly fast.
The Dolphins went to a 2-2-1 press. We settled into our 2-3. Lee got a basket inside, and then they just threw over the top of the 2-2-1 press that we've maybe not ever or sparingly seen used for the Dolphins this year, but Coach Sarcona and the staff trying to switch something up to get things going.
Dolphins already with 8 turnovers just over 6 minutes into the first quarter. They forced 3 as that three-pointer rattles out by Thomas, and that's a big miss if you're the Dolphins right now. They need all the breaks they can get, and they nearly throw it away again. Somehow Plemenko able to save it. That buys the Dolphins at least one possession here, and they quickly turn it over in the corner.
Molloy doing a really good job on the defensive end, keeping the Dolphins on the perimeter and making it very hard for them to attack the paint as CSI comes back out in their 2-2-1 press.
We've seen it as the Dolphins have attempted to cut down the center of the lane. The Lions swarming off the ball, not allowing the Dolphins to feed it inside, challenging them to try some outside shots. And so far, the Dolphins haven't obliged. They've continued to throw the ball into traffic, and they've paid for it as that three-pointer, way too long, but rebounded by the Lions. Fake by Moore, keeps the pivot foot. Cutting was Lee. She collides with her own teammate, and the Dolphins steal the pass. Here comes LaFaro, and she's fouled from behind.
See, on a play like that, you had Jenalise Alarcon trailing from behind. She's got to give some sort of watch your back call to LaFaro so that she's aware that somebody's chasing her down from behind. But Dolphins get bailed out there with a foul in the third for the Lions in the first quarter.
Substitution for Molloy as Trinity Hudson checks into the game. This is Alarcon into the corner for Plemenko. She'll use the Masinge screen, and Plemenko is fouled. And if the Lions allow the Dolphins to get to the free throw line via 15 foul, that hardly seems like good use of a foul, as CSI has struggled for offense just about as badly as you can in this first quarter. Still looking for their first made field goal. It's a good thing the bench doesn't wait to take a seat until the Dolphins score. Otherwise, they'd still be standing.
Good point there, Joe.
See that in the NBA quite a bit. Masinge in the corner, tries the three, and that one not close.
Again, another three that's coming off of just moving the ball around the perimeter. They haven't done a good job yet of trying to break into the paint to try to get some of these inside-out threes or to get fouled.
Just checking into the game was Morgan Staub, as that three-pointer is good from the corner. Cameron Corbett from beyond the arc.
Good looking shot there. Great ball movement. You seen the ball touch the high post or in the paint, made the defense collapse, and Corbett stepped up and knocked down the three.
This is Alarcon in the corner. Back out to LaFaro. Dolphins swing it to Masinge. Now Plemenko. 15 to shoot. Lambert, top of the arc. Alarcon in the corner. Drives baseline. Throws up a wild shot, and that one never had a chance.
Good early help there from Aspuru.
Aspuru has influenced several shots inside when the Dolphins have gotten an attempt off and has disrupted several passes as well. And traveling is the call against Lee. And Dolphins will send a pair of substitutions out onto the floor. Brianna Moore and Kaya Johnson off of the CSI bench for Masinge and LaFaro.
And you see the effects of the Dolphins playing zone today with a short bench. There's 0 fouls so far for them in the first 8 minutes of play, which is very important to keep everybody on the court.
14 fouls for the Lions, who, as we mentioned earlier, have only dressed 8. Looks like they may avoid a bonus situation for CSI as Lambert tries the 3, and that one is off the front rim, no good. Dolphins trail by double digits in the first quarter with 1:14 on the clock. It's Hudson into the corner for Corbett. Her pass was tipped, and there is 16 on the shot clock for Molloy. They will inbound from the baseline. Hudson up top to Lee. She will try the three-pointer. Too strong and rebounded by Staub. Aspuru into the corner for Hudson. Bounce pass from Corbett inside to Staub, who is fouled, and she will head to the line.
And great ball movement. I think everybody might have touched the ball after the offensive rebound. And the ball moved from one side to the other, got the ball to the short corner, and a bounce pass. And we have 2 shots on the foul, the first foul for the Dolphins in the first quarter.
You said it, TJ. The Dolphins have done a good job staying out of foul trouble, but unfortunately, not much else has gone right as they trail by double figures, and a chance for Staub to add to her team's lead as she makes it an 11-point advantage for Molloy.
And I think with the combination of what the score is right now and some strategy, you may see some man-to-man sooner than later from the Dolphins as they worry less about foul trouble and try to play a little bit more of their game.
The Lions grabbing the offensive board off of that last free throw, get a 20-second shot clock as the attempt by Hudson off glass in the front rim, no good. Lambert being harassed, and she draws the foul. So with the Dolphins struggling for points, they should be heading to the line as the referees realize it, and Lambert will jog over to the stripe for 2.
So the Dolphins are going to have to create offense in any way. Molloy fouling 5 times, putting the Dolphins to the line. And now Ashley Lambert will step up for 2. We still haven't gotten a basket yet in the first 9 minutes and about 30 seconds of the first half. Just a couple of free throws. But it looks like the Dolphins will have enough time to get the ball back for another possession if they don't give up an offensive rebound.
We've seen how quickly this Dolphins team can turn a deficit around against Nyack. The halftime deficit was 17. Dolphins erased a deficit that grew all the way to 20, won the game. As CSI will press here, many fouls to give. They don't have to worry about that as the ball is knocked away underneath, and the Lions will inbound with 21 to shoot.
6-second differential, so with the clock running, if they let go of a shot under 5 seconds, they should have 4 to 5 dribbles to get the ball down the court to get a shot.
We await the inbound pass here as the officials communicating, and they are satisfied as the Lions throw it in. 20 on the shot clock. That's Staub. Back to Lee in the corner. Attempting the 3 is Aspuru, and it's rebounded by Lambert with now 15 seconds to play in the first quarter. Masinge takes a look up at the clock. Dolphins will hold for 1 shot. This is Johnson. Out to Lambert. Fake. Pulls up from the mid-range, and the Dolphins have their first made field goal in the closing seconds of the first, as that shot will not count, and the Dolphins head into the second trailing by only 7 points.
And that's why fouling and fouls are very important. CSI stayed out of foul trouble, only fouling one time in the quarter. And then we have Molloy fouling enough time to put them on the free throw line for 2 free throws, Ashley Lambert, and then another 2 points at the end by Ashley Lambert.
So with that, we will head to break. Again, the Dolphins' deficit is 7, heading into quarter number 2. When we come back, more NCAA Division II women's basketball here on the ECC Network.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor.
It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
My dad was a soccer coach and bought this little book bag. I could sit in the book bag, like facing backwards and with like my legs out. So I'd be in his book bag when my dad coaches and the ball's going around. I'm like kicking at the ball in the back. And my dad was like, "We have a prodigy." So he put me into soccer and it just progressed from there. The catalyst was the opportunity to play soccer at a Division II school. On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do, be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
And we're back here on the ECC Network. Joe Foreman alongside TJ Tibbs as we get the second quarter underway between the Dolphins and Lions. And CSI comes storming out of the gates as Kaya Johnson with the finger roll gives the Dolphins their first made field goal of the second.
And that's tough. That's very tough left-handed lay from Kaya Johnson. There's some excitement from the Dolphins bench for the first time today.
CSI back to within 5 despite only registering one made field goal in the first. That's Hudson, left wing 3. Rolls off the rim, no good. 2 Dolphins collide, and possession will stay with Molloy.
And that's all it takes in a game like this is, of course, a game of runs, and we finished the first quarter really strong, and it came out with 2, and now you're right back in the game. It's a 2-possession game.
Lions inbound from the baseline. This is Hudson into the corner. Open three-pointer for Thomas, no good. And once again, 2 Dolphins collide, but this time an over-the-back foul is charged to the Lions as Sophia Lee picks up the personal, and very quickly, Molloy once again has their first team foul up on the scoreboard.
Interesting foul call there. I thought that was probably a play on where a long offensive rebound, and there definitely was some contact there, but not sure about the over-the-back there call for Molloy, but nonetheless, first foul of the quarter for either team.
I think collectively as a unit here on Sportsnet and all of the great broadcasters I've called games with alongside me over the years, we're all a fan of the play-on mentality.
Yeah, I just think fouls should be called when there's a clear advantage. If it becomes a clear advantage for the other team, it's got to be called. The biggest thing that I just don't like about officiating, we have so many great officials, is just the inconsistencies, especially coming out of halftime. And we've seen it in the men's game. The game was reffed a little bit differently, and that's frustrating when you stand on the sidelines or when you're playing in the game as we get an offensive foul.
Speaking of the men's game, we had quite a few offensive fouls, and we have another right there. Lions with 2 team fouls up on the scoreboard now. The Dolphins with their first. Following that last charge as in drives Hudson, met by Moore, and that shot never had a chance. Here come the Dolphins. Lambert up to LaFaro. LaFaro drives, gets to the rim. Floater is good.
In transition, and CSI's back in their 2-2-1 press, and Lizzie back into the game, and that's her game. Going to the rim, got right by a 1-2 dribble. Nice little floater to cut the lead down to 3.
Lizzie LaFaro, one of 3 Dolphins to receive ECC Rookie of the Week honors this year, as That basketball was incoming off the front of the commentary desk, and the Dolphins forced another turnover, but LaFaro, joined by her teammate Jenalise Alarcon in receiving ECC Rookie of the Week honors on the women's side. Messiah Mallory also receiving that honor on the men's side.
Which is great and what you want to see. It's a product of a bunch of young players playing, but also they have to contribute and they have to produce. And I think the coaches have done a great job of getting these young players here and then also putting them in situations to succeed. So kudos to Coach Sarcone and her staff and Coach Duran and his staff.
Bright future appears to be on the horizon for these CSI Dolphins basketball programs as another Dolphins turnover there. I believe that makes 11 on the game. 11-7. We've seen 18 turnovers so far as the bank shot no good by Staub. She kicks out. 3-point attempt by Spuru is rebounded by Johnson. Johnson coming up the floor with a head of steam, and she can't finish. Lambert fighting for the rebound. She tiptoes the baseline and keeps it in. Masinge on the drive, can't convert on the floater, and that is rebounded by Corbett. Corbett to Hudson, and good hands there by LaFaro. Active hands knocking the ball away. Dolphins have it, trailing by 3. LaFaro, wide open three-pointer off the back iron, no good, as a Lion is down, and you never want to see that, but especially on a team dressing only 8 players, as on the floor right now is Cameron Corbett. So as they attend to the injured player, we'll step aside and take a quick break. Dolphins trailing by 3, 7:16 on the clock in the second quarter.
My dad was a soccer coach and bought this little book bag. I could sit in the book bag like facing backwards and look like my legs out. So I'd be in his book bag when my dad coaches and the ball's going around. I'm like kicking at the ball in the back. And my dad was like, "We have a prodigy." So he put me into soccer and it just progressed from there. The catalyst was the opportunity to play soccer at a Division II school. On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do, be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades. It was my sophomore indoor season. It was the...
And we're back from the tank, as being attended to by the trainer is Cameron Corbett on the trainer's table, so we hope she is okay as she was helped off of the floor ahead of that last commercial break. Her team leads by 3 points with just over 7 minutes to play in the second quarter.
Yeah, and tough to have one of your starters go down, especially one that hit a couple of shots. And you know Cam Corbett wants to come and play well today in front of some Staten Island family and some Staten Island fans, get a chance to play in Staten Island. And we were talking off the break, her brother Nick Corbett, I believe, is the all-time leading scorer with 2,032 points. Just recently, before the COVID year, finished his career, won an ECC championship, a Monsignor Farrell product, with Cam Corbett being a Staten Island Academy product. So the Corbett name and the Corbett family, pretty illustrious here on Staten Island and continuing at Molloy.
Molloy still leading Staten Island by 3 points, as both teams have been starved for offense in this game so far. As Brianna Moore, wide open underneath, had to go up quickly as the lines closed, and she couldn't finish. With it is Janelle Moore. Now Aspuru on the left wing. Back up top to Moore, 15 to shoot. Dolphins still in their zone defense as Lambert meets Moore, top of the arc. That's Hudson into Aspuru. Aspuru mid-range jumper is perfect. And Aspuru puts the Lions back in front by 5.
And that's also tough. Looking like Asia Wilson there. That's on the wing there. Nice little jab step and a little jump shot, creating space. Tough move for Aspuru.
This is Lizzie LaFaro on the right wing. She will use the Masinge screen. Now Lambert thought about it from the right wing. Dolphins have 10 to shoot. Masinge. Crossover. Half spin inside, and she is rejected underneath. Moore trying to chase it down, and that ball right on target as Janelle Moore extends the Lions' lead to 7.
And here comes Molloy on their run. CSI made their run starting from the end of the first quarter and now going to the beginning of the second quarter. And Molloy's starting to make a little bit of a run of their own.
As we have a traveling violation called against the Dolphins. Molloy has scored the last 4 after the Dolphins scored the first 4 in this second quarter. Jenelise Alarcon checks back in for CSI. And the ball had already been inbounded, so Arvelo will have to wait to get on the floor. She did not get to the X in time. 5 minutes to play in the first half. Lions have a chance to go up double figures here with a 3. This is Aspuru driving. Nice bounce pass inside as Lee is tied up by Masinge. Jump ball is the call, and we will stay right here.
9 on the shot clock. Important for Molloy to note as they've had 2 shot clock violations early here in the game. And let's see what they run here as we get to the media timeout down to 5.
So with 4:50 on the clock, media timeout on the floor will send us to a break. Dolphins trailing by 7, 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the first half.
Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades. It was my sophomore indoor season. It was the first year with our new head coach. And he comes in and he's like, we could be a national contending team if you guys work hard. And I heard him and I was like, well, I want to be a national champion. I want to be an All-American. And I bought in because he bought into our team. And I qualified to go to indoor nationals. I decided I wanted it, so I went and grabbed it.
For me, just kind of was the glue that kept my family together, I feel like. I don't know what it was that drew me in, but after I started playing for a while and started seeing some early success as a little kid,
And we're back from the tank. Lions have it as they quickly attempt a shot inside off of the inbound, and Sophia Lee is able to put it in as she got the friendly roll, and the Lions now lead by 9.
Dolphins running a set out of the timeout, looking to get Alarcon a post up.
It has been tough for the Dolphins to make that entry pass inside as Arvelo misses off back iron, and it's rebounded by Molloy. Lions very well maybe down to 7 players in this game. Don't want to speculate about the injury, but if Cameron Corbett can't come back into the game, that's 7 healthy bodies for the Lions, who got into early foul trouble as well. That feed inside to Hudson by Aspuru, right on target, and Hudson finishes inside.
It's going to be interesting to see the way the Dolphins play it out. It looks like Molloy's getting a little bit more comfortable against that 2-3 zone. Dolphins only have 2 fouls for the game so far. So it'll be interesting if Coach Sarcone pulls the trigger, go to man-to-man at some point.
Alarcon was rejected by Aspuru. She went down hard, but is back to her feet. Looks okay as Kaya Johnson heads to the bench. Lizzie LaFaro checks back into the game for CSI. 13 to shoot for the Dolphins. This is Alarcon, and she is rejected again, this time by Danielle Hippner. Hippner stands 6'2". The only player on either team who has me outsized.
I think everybody has me outsized, so I can't say the same.
As Lambert rattles in a three, and that is a much-needed basket for the Dolphins. And right as it looked like the Lions might be able to break the game open, CSI once again comes up with a much-needed basket.
Need to get a stop on this end to keep it within two-possession game.
Lee, cross court to the wing for Moore. Now Hudson in the corner, back up top to Moore. 10 to shoot. This is Lee. Back to Moore. She will try the three from the left wing. No good. And good work on the glass by Masinge, boxing out a pair of Lions.
See if they get something early, if they could get a paint touch early.
That seems to be the only way in. If the Dolphins don't get the ball inside right away, the Lions have not allowed them to make any entry passes. That foul came before the shot attempt, as LaFaro dumped it off to Masinge. So no shot for Masinge. Foul goes against Trinity Hudson. That's her second. Arvello will inbound from the baseline. 20 on the shot clock. She finds Lambert, who gets a screen from Alarcon. Now LaFaro into the corner for Masinge. Spin move off the drive, and that one hits nothing but the backboard. This is Hudson. Spuru for Moore.
We had a score adjustment. Are we down 8?
Yes. I think the score is correct.
Okay.
According to the live stats, we're good. As Hudson has it left wing. Now Lee, stifled by Alarcon. She had to kick it out. 7 to shoot, and the bounce pass on the baseline stolen by Alarcon. This is Arvello, and she travels. And that's an unforced giveaway by the Dolphins, as Arvello had plenty of space. No need to rush things, but for the Dolphins, the turnovers continuing to pile up in this first half, as that makes 13.
I don't want to over-speculate, but over there in the corner, Cam Corbett has her shoe off, has ice on her ankle. I think she's probably going to be done for today.
That really hurts this Lions team, which did not come in with many bodies in the first place. And if Corbett doesn't return, as I mentioned before, they are down to 7 healthy players, and Hippner unable to finish in traffic, as the Dolphins now can get back to within 5 with a 3, and they might have a chance right here, as Arvello is short from the corner, and it is rebounded by Hudson. This is Moore directing traffic, trying to set up the half-court offense. Now Spuru for Moore. She had some space, thought about a 3. That pass was tipped by Lambert. Lambert nearly commits the foul. Hudson open in the corner now for 3. Rebound to Alarcon. Masinge out to Lambert. Corner three-pointer. Short, and rebounded by Moore. Shooting for the Dolphins so far in this game, 4 of 23, shy of 17.5%. CSI, though, continuing to force turnovers on top of the ones they've committed, as that bounce pass weakly finds its way to Arvello. A bullet pass for Alarcon nearly got away. Now Lambert off the head fake will try the mid-range pull-up. Off the back rim, and down goes Alarcon, who was fouled. That foul, the 4th team foul for the Lions, so the Dolphins will not get the benefit of free throw attempts after that latest foul. Lola Plemenko into the game for Christina Arvello. For Spuru, that is her first personal. Should be the team's 4th. As LaFaro tries another floater, and this time hits it from the left baseline.
With the shot clock off, Molloy has a chance to hold for one and take at least a 6-point lead going into halftime. It's been a tough scoring half for both teams, but baskets have been hard to come by. So we'll see what they do at the end of the quarter here if they give the Dolphins a chance to get another shot up.
This is Hudson for Moore. And there's a reckless pass. Lambert has plenty of time. Took a look up at the clock. Goes all the way to the rim and banks it in. And that last make on the break by Ashley Lambert brings the first half to a close. Dolphins lead it, or I should say trail, at the break 22-16. But taking a look at the CSI side of the stat sheet, it could have been much worse. Dolphins will enter the second half down 4 when we come back here on the ECC Network. More NCAA Division II women's basketball.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
When your car is damaged, where you take it is your decision. But insurance companies would like you to think otherwise. While they may have a lot of pull, it may not always be in the best interest of your car. Your car will be fixed right and on time. What insurance company can argue with that?
Call Dependable Auto Body at 718-447-4898.
Hi, Meals on Wheels. I'm Marco. I'm a college student, and I volunteer as a driver for Meals on Wheels. I think it's awesome meeting these people. I mean, they're so interesting. They've had so many wonderful experiences in life. Your community helps to raise you up into the person that you become. Meals on Wheels is a great way to give back to that community.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials. Live music. And the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dining order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
As an American, it's hard to hear that we have a serious hunger issue in our country. And as a parent, it's even harder to hear that 1 in 5 of our kids struggles with hunger, especially when billions of pounds of good food are wasted every year. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide billions of meals to families in need right in your community. Visit feedingamerica.org to support Feeding America and your local food bank. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at It's On.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook. And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tidy.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours. Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit. Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just, please, don't leave. Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials, live music, and the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dine-in order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
When your car is damaged, where you take it is your decision. But insurance companies would like you to think otherwise. While they may have a lot of pull, it may not always be in the best interest of your car. Your car will be fixed right and on time. What insurance company can argue with that?
Call Dependable Auto Body at 718-447-4898.
The Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island. Be sure to check out the Kettle Black's monthly calendar of events, only at Kettle Black Bar.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can. And then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
And we are back from the tank, start of the second half. And do not adjust your screens. That score is correct. Only 36 points scored in the first half, 20 belonging to Molloy College, 16 to the College of Staten Island. Dolphins trailing by 4 will inbound from right in front of us to open up the second half.
And Molloy looks like they're coming back out a man-to-man with only 2 people on the bench.
for Molloy to come in, and they were the ones that were the more aggressors, have more fouls in the first half. So we'll see if CSI comes back in that zone, extends their pressure, which it looks like we'll see this 2-2-1 into a 2-3.
Dolphins with 14 turnovers in the game. That last one, number 14. The Lions with 12. However, Molloy only 8 points off of those turnovers. The Dolphins with only 4. So that goes to show you how much these two teams have struggled at the offensive end of the floor. But no struggles right there for Trinity Hudson knocking down the baseline jumper.
And that was the best time that they broke that 2-2-1 besides the time early in the first half where they got a layup. So obviously something that they talked about at halftime and they executed coming out the half.
Well, that's the best-looking pass in the paint the Dolphins have had all game long, and Alarcon couldn't convert on 2 attempts. Molloy by 6. That's Lee. To the corner for Moore. Feed inside to Staub, who was doubled. Lee left wide open at the top of the arc, and she makes the Dolphins pay.
Inside, outside. So that's been the difference between Molloy's offense and CSI's offense. The ball collapses the defense inside in the short corner. Kick out to Lee, and she steps right into it and knocks it down in rhythm.
Dolphins have had a lot of trouble getting the ball into the paint, as Arvelo will try a deep 3. That's off the back iron, tipped away by Spuru, but Masenge was fouled, and we'll stay right here.
And just watch, if you're sitting at home, just watch the difference between the two offenses right now, and that's why there's different runs. It's a little bit easier as an offensive player to shoot with the balls coming from inside. It's a little bit more natural to step into your shot, a little bit more difficult when it's coming from side to side. And those are the shots that we're getting right now. When we went on a run, we were getting into the paint and getting easier shots inside, outside, and also getting fouled.
That last shot attempt was stuffed, but Alarcon grabbed her own rebound, and Dolphins looking to reset. This is Alarcon left open, but she doesn't want the 3. 5 to shoot. LaFaro, another floater, and she is very adept with that shot.
3 for 3 with her floaters. You see the first one on the right baseline, the second one on the left baseline, and this one going left with her right. Obviously, you got to watch out for a floater when you're playing Lizzie LaFaro.
And once again, the Lions able to break the Dolphins' press as Trinity Hudson left wide open underneath the rim.
And that is now the second time in the first 2 minutes of the second half that Molloy has just thrown right over that press and gotten an easy basket, once on a jump shot in the short corner, and then that one for a layup.
Well, if the Dolphins are going to press, they have to make sure that doesn't happen, because Molloy in the half court hasn't had a much better time than CSI in this game. 12 of 32. The Dolphins 7 of 31. So CSI has been able to get the stops in the half court, but they've allowed no less than 2 or 3 of those easy baskets over the press. And right now, that's almost accounting for the entire difference in the game. That's Johnson, a tough shot, heavily contested. Fighting for it were Lee and Arvelo. Jump ball the call, and we will head back the other way.
So the pace of play has picked up a bit, with Molloy trying to throw over the 2-2-1, CSI's 2-2-1 press. And it's created some easier opportunities a little bit for both sides. So CSI is dropping back into the 2-3 that we've seen all in the first half, and they have left playing that 2-2-1 for now.
Plenty of time left for CSI, trailing by just 9. As the Lions work it around the perimeter, this is Moore. Now Hudson. For Lee, thought about the 3 in the corner. Spru inside to Staub, met by LaFaro, and that one rolls off the rim, no good. Dolphins looking to push. Here comes Kaya Johnson all the way to the rim, and I think the Lions might have gotten away with a foul there. As that's fed inside to Hudson, and more contact underneath on the shot, no call. A whistle was blown, but the ball had landed out of bounds, so the Lions will inbound with 22 to shoot.
Interesting commentary from Lee, from Molloy, commenting about the officiating and how she fouled somebody down the other end, and those aren't going to get called today.
Floater is good by Lee, and she's having herself a good afternoon.
She has stepped right into a 3 at the top of the key, a nice left-hand floater for Lee as she puts the Lions up 11.
She is the only Molloy player in double figures with 11. On the drive, that's Masenge, and she got trapped underneath the rim. A tough spot to shoot from, but she was fouled. Fans and aspiring officials seated behind us. I used to sit next to an aspiring official at this commentary desk for a few years.
They have tough jobs, let me tell you, and they have some pretty good officials in the ECC, but it's a tough job when nobody in the crowd is going to cheer for you or to say anything when you make a good call. So it's a thankless job for sure.
No doubt about that. As Masinge misses the first from the line, she has one more upcoming, and she goes 0 for 2 from the stripe. Dolphins still trail by 11.
And still, the story of the game so far, let's watch the fouls. 3 fouls in the first 3.5 minutes for Molloy, 0, and I believe a total of 2 for the whole entire game for CSI. So let's see if we can get the ball into the paint and pick up some easy fouls to get into double bonus for the quarter.
Well, the Dolphins continue to force turnovers, but have made nothing of them, as that last one was number 13 for the Lions, and the Dolphins only 4 points off of those Molloy turnovers.
Yeah, and we just seen a transition, tough pull-up from Kaya Johnson, and that's how her shot. That's where she lives at. It just rolls in and out and falls down, and Lee's just a story of this third quarter. She's having an excellent beginning to this third quarter in the second half.
Dolphins with no answers for Sophia Lee. She now has 13 on 6 of 10, 50% from downtown as well. That's Alarcon. Good feed to Masinge, and the Dolphins need a lot more of that.
And while we get on the officiating, an interesting no call there on the attempted charge. From where my vantage point was, it looks like the defender was inside of the arc, which is an automatic block call, regardless of whether you think anything happened. So the consistency or the lack of consistency of those calls is what makes players, fans, and coaches frustrated. But nonetheless, 2 points for the Dolphins.
Well, you left out one group, TJ. I think you left out commentators. As Staub takes the pass on the inside, and she can't finish off glass, as the Dolphins now beginning to string together some stops in the half court. Here comes LaFaro up to Alarcon. They are giving her plenty of space. This is Masinge. Turnaround jumper is good.
The tough move from Noemia in the post. Undersized there against the size from Molloy. So we get a delay of game call. Knocking the ball away after the basket. I didn't see who did it, but nonetheless, if the Dolphins get another one of those delayed game calls, it will result in a technical foul.
I never understood how in the NBA a delay of game was ruled as redirecting the ball toward the inbounder. Trying to speed up the pace of the game is a delay of game infraction in the NBA.
And it's been a point of emphasis as we had to break, and maybe we'll pick that up when we come back.
So more discussion about the delay of game that isn't in the NBA when we come back on the other side of this commercial break. Dolphins trailing 31-22 inside of 5 minutes to play in the third quarter.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
And we're back on the ECC network. Dolphins trail by 9 at the midway point of quarter number 3. College of Staten Island looking to even up their record at 3-3 on the season following a long layoff since their last game. For Molloy College, they look to improve to 4-5 and pick up their first conference victory. And they will have the basketball leading by 9. As we did promise a discussion, the delay of game that isn't in the NBA, a point of emphasis for the officials in the National Basketball Association.
And now it is a point of emphasis. So regardless of whether you grab the ball and throw it back to an official, whether you throw it to a player, they don't want you touching the ball at all. They think it's slowing the game down. And I'd like to see that rule in college more. You can see some teams that who like to set up their press or like to slow down you from pushing the ball, just kind of knocking the ball around or touching it a little bit. I like for that to be a point of emphasis down in college, as we got a Molloy basket foul by foul here. Genelise will go shoot 2.
So Alarcon to the line for CSI, and the Dolphins have done a much better job working the ball into the paint here in the third quarter. Shockingly, half of the Dolphins' offense in the first half came in the paint. They had 8 points inside at half. Right now, they are at 14. So 6 of their 7 points in the second half coming in the paint as Alarcon misses the first free throw, the 7th point coming from the line.
I believe we've missed the last 3 free throws. Noemi missed a pair, and here we go. I think we're 0 for our last 4 on free throws.
The Dolphins struggling from the line. In the game, 3 of 8. Those are 5 big points off of the board. The Lions have only attempted 2 free throws. This is Aspuru in a tough spot, nearly able to work herself into a scoring position on the reverse, and the Dolphins could not keep the ball in. The Lions just figuring that out as Aspuru was halfway back.
Look for Aspuru possibly coming back to the strong side corner.
Aspuru doubled at the free throw line. Puts up a shot from there, and it's off the back rim. Here comes Johnson, who looks to push nearly every time she rebounds the ball. This is Arvello out to Masinge, and she couldn't get a clean handle on it.
Yeah, just an unfortunate good drive by Christina Arvello and a good kick to Noemia, but just tough, couldn't get the handle on it.
Inside of 20 on the shot clock. This is Hudson. Back to Aspuru. And they feed it inside to Hypner. She gave it up to Hudson, who tried to throw up a difficult one-handed shot. And that one is no good. Here comes Johnson again. Now Lambert back to Johnson. Arvello tries another 3. And once again, it's off the back iron. Arvello has been off in this game.
Molloy electing to slow it down. The Dolphins' 2-3 zone has kind of went a little tandem. Tandem being that they're picking up the ball a little bit higher with one of the guards and bringing their wings up a little bit higher, trying to put some more pressure on the ball at the top of the key.
That one may have been tipped, but it was last touched by the Lions. So the Dolphins force another Molloy turnover. And if you took a look at the turnovers the Dolphins have forced in this game, you would think they must be in an advantageous position, but that has not been the case, as they have committed just as many turnovers as the Lions, in fact more, as right now Molloy still winning the turnover battle by a slim margin. Dolphins also haven't shot it well, so that hasn't helped, as Alarcon is still looking for her first made basket. This is Lambert in the corner, and that three-pointer off the mark and rebounded by the Lions.
Not a bad look for Lambert, but another possession where the ball hasn't touched the paint. Good drive, but trying to get the ball into the paint more, especially with our next foul. We're in double bonus going through for the rest of the quarter.
Whistle before the shot attempt, and for the Dolphins, that will be their first team foul of the half. Speaking of CSI's efficiency in this game, the only player who has been remotely efficient is LaFaro. Lambert is 3 of 7, so that's a respectable shooting percentage as well, but Arvello is 0 of 4, Johnson 1 of 6, Masinge 2 of 8, and Alarcon 0 of 7. And getting the friendly roll there was Aspuru, and the Lions now back in front by 13.
Now we're entering dangerous territory for the Dolphins. 2 minutes left, down 13. You need a basket and you need a stop.
That's a good look for Johnson, a bit off balance, but it's rebounded by Alarcon, and a wild shot attempt may have been partially blocked by Lee. Rebound to Molloy. That's Lee. Now Aspuru. Back to Lee. And she definitely traveled there as she was unable to stay grounded at the free throw line. And Dolphins force yet another turnover. Still struggling to turn those into points as the Dolphins have been stuck on 4 points off of turnovers for the entirety of this quarter. For the Lions, they've now committed 3 turnovers here in the third as the Dolphins turn it over themselves. Moore showing off some speed ahead of the field, but can't finish with the left. Asprue on the follow. She can't convert. And rejected was Hudson. Good defensive stand there by the Dolphins, but nobody around Moore as that hit the shot clock, and it will be Dolphins basketball. Molloy has had many chances to potentially put this game out of reach, but they just can't seem to break it open. And based on what we saw from this Dolphins team at home last time against Nyack, you can't rule them out of this game by any means yet.
Can't rule them out of any game.
That is a sure thing, as plenty of time on the clock. 1 minute to go in this third quarter, but Dolphins still have another 10 minutes after that to try and get things right. This is Moore. And traveling is the call as both teams continue to pile up the turnovers.
50 seconds left and about 3 possessions, possibly 2 possessions left in this quarter. It's going to be interesting how Molloy manages this possession up 13 with 50 seconds left. So do they come down? Do they try to get a 2-for-1 opportunity? Do they just try to get a good shot and then play defense on the other end? So see what they do when they come down.
About a 20-second differential between shot clock and game clock. Lions could go 2-for-1 if they like. That Staub into the corner. More bounce pass. And Asprue is swarmed and fouled. Now, was she attempting a shot there is the question, and the official says no. Looked like she was thinking about it.
And with 50 seconds, sorry, Joe, with 50 seconds and they're coming down with 30 seconds on the shot clock, that's perfect 2-for-1 territory to guarantee yourself. You want to get a 2-for-1 situation between 45 and 55 seconds, especially when the clock is going to be running down. So see that more in the women's game with the quarters in the first, second, and third quarter, but Molloy elected not to go 2-for-1, and it looks like the Dolphins will, as I spoke too soon, and it looks like Molloy, in fact, will have the last shot of the quarter.
Ugly turnover once again by CSI. They have been very sloppy with the basketball throughout this entire game, and looks like the time they spent away from the court awaiting their next game has hurt them just a bit, as Staub able to put that in ahead of the buzzer. The Molloy supporters in attendance fired up. The Lions will take a 15-point lead into the fourth as the Dolphins look to try and make it back-to-back comeback victories on their home court. They will begin a long climb back after this break.
My path to a college degree would have been completely different had I not run Division II cross country for the University of Mount Olive. Having an athletic and academic scholarship was key for my success. Our coaches were really helpful with balancing out my academics and athletics. I decided to attend graduate school because I wanted to become an athletic director. Receiving the postgraduate scholarship through the NCAA provided me with the flexibility to choose the school that I wanted. So now I know that I can accomplish any goal that I set for myself.
As a student athlete in college, I first got involved with the NCAA at the national level. It was through the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, SAC, gave me an opportunity to advocate on behalf of all student athletes, to affect change and to make an impact. The NCAA is giving the student athlete a platform to voice their concerns and to be able to advocate for what's going to affect their well-being. The policies that are being put in place are speaking towards academics, they're speaking towards well-being, they're speaking towards fairness, creating a culture so that the student athletes have the best experiences possible.
Fourth quarter getting underway from the College of Staten Island, with the Dolphins trailing by 15 points in this East Coast Conference matchup with Molloy. Dolphins struggling for offense, and that will not help as the Dolphins commit yet another turnover, this time on the illegal screen.
So we've had a couple of stories in this game. Now with a 15-point lead for Molloy, and the Dolphins been sitting in the zone and nobody in any foul trouble. At what point does CSI potentially extend pressure or go into man-to-man to kind of pick up the tempo and create more possessions?
Dolphins staying in the zone right now, as picking up her dribble was Thomas. She finds Moore. Cross-court pass to Lee, who will try the three, and she knocks it down.
She's had an incredible second half. It's really been the difference, in my opinion, for Molloy in the second half. Has just been an offensive outburst.
Lee has had herself quite the game so far, and you said it, TJ, a stellar second half for her, as she now has 16 points. This is Alarcon with a very tough shot, as the Dolphins have been out of control around the rim all game.
And there was Lee again with the tip. She's not going to get credit for a rebound, but all over the defensive glass.
This is Lee for Moore. 12 on the shot clock. Spuru looking for somewhere to go with it. There's a good place as Lee has it on the baseline. Now Moore, bounce pass for Staub and a miscommunication there. Staub vacated her position on the low post as Johnson nearly lost the ball. This is Lambert. Alarcon, top of the arc. LaFaro will try a three, and the Dolphins really needed that one, but it's an air ball as LaFaro trying to track that long pass and unable to handle it was Thomas.
I think you can see the difference in the possessions, and both Seaside Dolphin teams, both the men's and women's team, are young teams. So when you're in a tough position, when you're down 15 points and 18 points, you know, these kids are competitors. They want to make plays. So Lizzie LaFaro, they're taking a tough pull-up jump shot, but they got to get the ball into the paint as much as they possibly can as we're going to a media timeout.
And with that, we will take a break. 8:13 on the clock in the fourth quarter. Dolphins trailing by 18 points.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials. Live music. And the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dine-in order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
And we're back from the College of Staten Island. Dolphins deficit is 18 points as Sophia Lee has led Molloy College to a second half that has seen them break away in this game. As their lead approaches 20, the Dolphins hoping to try and stay in this thing as Alarcon follows the miss by Johnson, and the Dolphins just can't convert on anything around the rim.
Tough possession. I thought Jenelise Alarcon passed open an open three at the top of the key in a game like this. At a time like this, you probably need her to put that shot up.
She has been hesitant to shoot the three as we're heading back the other way. Staub stepped on the baseline, but I mentioned coming out of break, Sophia Lee, and in this game, she's 7 of 11 from the floor. The Lions 18 of 51, so 7 of the 18 made shots in the game by Lee, and of the 9 made field goals from Molloy in the second half, 4 of them belong to Lee.
It's been her half, and I want to make a quick distinction. The media timeout that was called earlier, that was a 30-second timeout by CSI that turned into a media as it was the first called timeout of the second half. So CSI was charged a timeout as Ashley Lambert hit a three, and hopefully the Dolphins can get something going here with 7 minutes left.
Hopefully the scores table is listening to your breakdown of when and where the media timeouts take place. As right now, with 7 minutes on the clock, the Dolphins need stops, and preferably they need them quickly, as Aspuru working one-on-one with Masinghe, and the rebound is tipped out. A fresh 20 seconds for Molloy as Lee nearly lost it on the crossover. This is Hudson. Now Thomas, right wing three-pointer is good. And after the Lambert three, the Lions come right back with an answer.
Major answer. That's a big-time shot there. And you could say, yeah, we only cut it to 15, but we got some momentum with the three and needed to stop, and they answered right back with a three. And those are the tough baskets, especially at this point in the game.
Well, it's clear the Lions are allowing Jenelise Alarcon to shoot the three. They have not closed out, and Alarcon yet to make them pay as she's 0 of 11 from the floor. The Lions come right back down, extend their lead to 20. And the Dolphins right now need quick baskets and stops. That won't do it as they had the right idea, taking it straight to the rim in a short amount of time, but trailing by 20 points, the door is closing fast. That's Thomas for Hudson, defended by Lambert. Now Thomas has it again. She hit that last three-pointer from the wing. Spuru, 3, off the back iron. Johnson has it, and a foul as both teams fought for the board. And the foul is going to be on Staub. That's her second.
You got to give Molloy credit. I mean, the women have been fighting extremely hard the entire game. It came to the game with 8 players. With Cam Corbett going down pretty early, they've had 7, and they've just continued to fight. And they're doing a great job on the boards. We obviously are probably going to lose a lot of rebounding battles just for the sheer size, but Molloy's came in here with some pretty good size at the 3, 4, and 5 spots at all time, and they're doing a great job on the boards as they get an offensive foul there.
Well, the Lions have 4 players standing 6 feet or taller. Not something we've seen too often, but that we will become more accustomed to at the Division II level. And that size has given the Dolphins a lot of trouble around the rim in this game, especially for the Dolphins at the offensive end, as many shots have been altered, passes broken up, and that length on the interior has really disrupted the offensive flow for the Dolphins.
And it's been tough in the second half, and it's been tough for them the entire game. And we mentioned they haven't played a game in a while. They just got back into practice, and they've come out and they've been a little bit rusty. But you'd like for them to get a couple of better looks and some better opportunities.
When the Dolphins have been open from beyond the arc, they simply haven't knocked down their three-pointers, something that has really helped them back into a couple of games this year where they were playing from behind, and they played from behind for much of this game as well, and it looks like they're going to fall short in this conference matchup against the Lions, but still 5 minutes on the clock, and of course you'd love to see that effort. And as a coach, how important was that effort to you down the stretch in a blowout game like this where you're trailing by 20 points in the closing minutes?
It matters, especially when you have a young team. Everything is on film. Everything is a teaching moment. So the score, you want to win, but the score is irrelevant as far as what needs to be worked on. So even though you're down 20 points, there's 4 minutes and 30 seconds left, and all these young players need the film and need these possessions. So it's a great teaching point, great opportunity to take this into practice.
Well, we mentioned the Dolphins with a bit of a layoff. Their last game was on Sunday, November 28th. That was against Post University. So the Dolphins will have a chance to bounce back on Monday. So a short layoff, and we will see how they respond. But still 4.5 minutes to go when we come back. The conclusion of the fourth quarter right here on the ECC Network.
Your car is damaged. Where you take it is your decision. But insurance companies would like you to think otherwise. While they may have a lot of pull, it may not always be in the best interest of your car. Your car will be fixed right and on time. What insurance company can argue with that?
Call Dependable Auto Body at 718-447-48.
Your car is damaged. Where you take it is your decision. But insurance companies would like you to think otherwise. While they may have a lot of pull, it may not always be in the best interest of your car. Your car will be fixed right and on time. What insurance company can argue with that?
Call Dependable Auto Body at 718-447-48.
Lions inbounding following that last media timeout into a wide open shot by Danielle Hippner, and rebound ends up with CSI.
And that's what you kind of alluded to before we went to break is these minutes matter. So they came out of a timeout. We didn't get matched up, and we gave up an open three in the corner. Thankfully for us, it didn't go in, but everything matters. These kids are still fighting for minutes. They're still trying to figure out who they are at this level. So regardless of the score, they're still going to see both teams playing hard as we're very early in the season and even early in the ECC play.
Dolphins will inbound with just under 4 minutes on the clock in this fourth quarter. For the Dolphins, this conference game, their first of the season. Next one on the schedule coming up on Friday. They take on Damon College here at the Tank.
Good to see Lola Flamenco get on the board. Just a kid that comes in, plays hard all the time, and, got a bucket to drop for her there.
Flamenco, one of the veterans on this team, one of only 2 returning Dolphins, as that mid-range is good from Aspuru.
And that's a great point, Joe. And what that does is the continuity. You don't have a lot of people who have played in tough moments with each other, so you got a team that is going to be feeling each other out throughout the season. Going to be put in different situations. Even though there's not a lot of girls on the roster, there's still a lot of different situations that they haven't been put in together that they have to feel each other out with.
With that last 3, Ashley Lambert now has 15 points. Has shot it efficiently from downtown and not poorly from the field either. She's put together a good performance in this game. That's Maya Thomas, and once again, it is Thomas with the answer from downtown.
Molloy has just had an answer at every turn. Every time we seem to put a string, a good possession together, or whatever it may be, they just had an answer at every turn.
Well, that's what we saw some other teams fail to do against CSI earlier this year. They had the Dolphins down, were unable to knock them out, and CSI able to come back and make those games competitive again. Ultimately won the game against Nyack, and very similarly against Wilmington, they were able to come back down the stretch as well. So the Dolphins have been able to play from behind effectively. Today, the Lions did not allow them to get within striking distance after extending their lead beyond double figures. That's Aspuru, no good from beyond the arc, and it is rebounded by Lambert. Lambert to LaFaro. Gets a screen from Masinghe, and she tries another floater and is 4 for 4 on that shot.
We need a Wendy's sponsorship there. 4 for 4 for Lizzie LaFaro on the floaters, and all from different angles. And a pressure point of the game as the Dolphins call a 30-second timeout.
Well, I'm a fan of the 4 for 4 and the $5 biggie bag. I am a Wendy's connoisseur, a fast food app aficionado, and I love myself some Wendy's, particularly after a long day of calling the action. So maybe today I'll have to stop at the drive-thru.
Listen, I had Wendy's last night, actually. I got to ask you, Joe. I'm a sauce connoisseur.
You are.
What is your favorite sauce from Wendy's?
Is it a sauce if I say ketchup? Because I drown everything in ketchup. It is a lot. I go through one of those massive bottles of Heinz within 3 sittings.
That is a ridiculous answer.
I know. That's why we went with it. Nonetheless, a great answer.
What I will say personally is that Wendy's has discontinued their Sawsome sauce, and I am still very upset about it. Yes, they did, They discontinued their Sawsome sauce, which I thought was their best sauce there. But nonetheless, I have to stick with some barbecue or some sweet and sour when I go.
Well, I may have to find some on the black market. Maybe I can hold it for you. And I've been known to scalp some things from time to time, so maybe sauces will have to be added to the rotation.
Listen, if I get you in Secret Santa, there will be a good holiday gift.
I look forward to it. As that ball is stripped away from Aspuru, and she's charged with the offensive foul. She bowled over Flamenco.
Hey, good to see. And we talked about how these minutes matter. Lola hasn't played that much today. Came in, knocked down a shot, and took a charge, having some positive minutes at the end of the game.
And my question for you is, how much free food have you gotten from Wendy's in the last year and a half? Because I've gotten hundreds of dollars worth, as that one is rejected by Hippner.
Well, I need to figure out why I haven't gotten that one, so maybe that's something we need to talk about off air, because I eat at Wendy's too much to not get free food like you.
The app, sir, the app. Countless. It's an automatic free French fries with every order. You have to at least get that much.
Well, I've only been hooked up with the free Frosty chain, which
paper coupons.
Yeah. Every time I go through, I forget I even have it, so I haven't been able to take advantage of that at all.
We'll have to talk about that off the air and maybe get some sponsorships where they give us some more of those paper coupons that we can distribute here on the premises. But we will take our final break of this game. 1 minute on the clock in the fourth quarter. Dolphins trail by 16.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the
And we're back from the tank. 1:08 on the clock. These final possessions, just a formality here as the Dolphins trail by 16. This is Hypner, top of the arc. Now Moore, feed inside to Aspuru. And traveling is the call.
Not sure I've seen that one, but maybe I didn't have a good angle.
Yeah, I'll refrain from commenting on that last one, as right now the Dolphins have taken the advantage in the turnover battle. It has been a sloppy fourth quarter for Molloy. They've committed 23 turnovers in the game as Plamenco sees that 3 rattle out. And Dolphins may get one more possession.
And as we're winding down, Joe, I want to thank you for having me on both games. It's a privilege to be here with the voice of the Dolphins, and hopefully my game has stepped up and added to the broadcast. Nino, I appreciate you doing a great job engineering, and everybody who's helped me today, great with the alumni game, with the men's basketball game, and now with the women's basketball game. So, Joe, I thank you for having me on.
Well, I have to thank you for coming on, because it gets awfully lonely over here when I'm the only voice I hear in my own headset for as many as 2 or 3 hours straight. So it's been a lot of fun doing this, and I'm sure we'll get a chance to do it again down the line. Hopefully not too soon, as we hope Nick is back and seated to my left by hopefully next Friday. We'll see how he's doing come the end of this week, but I wanted to give him a shout-out one final time before we sign off. And also Dave Pizzuto rejoining me for the alumni game. Always great to have him back in the building.
Legend.
We honored, no doubt about that. He's the reason I'm here in the first place, as he was on hand to help us honor our president, Dr. William J. Fritz, at halftime of the men's game. One last shout-out to him and his wife Bonnie as well, as we continue to wish him the best on his retirement coming up at the end of the calendar year. And for the Dolphins, they will drop this game, as we are going to have a timeout, and CSI will use this opportunity to diagram something in the final seconds. But the Dolphins are back in action on Monday. They take on Goldie Beacom in a non-conference matchup. That game tips off on Monday evening. Oh, that's men's basketball on my screen. Here's women's. That game tips off Monday evening at 5 p.m., so you can expect us on the air between 4:45 and 4:50 for that matchup.
And we talked about how these end of the game minutes matter. You don't think Coach Sarcone thinks it matters? Calling a timeout, 5.3 left, and then the average fan might just say, hey, you're down 13, you don't have a 13-point shot. But I guarantee you that they're going to have to need to execute later in the season at this point. So getting a young team to pay attention to the board and be able to give them a chance to execute. Now, if Molloy wanted to have some metagame and not give a conference opponent an opportunity to execute, they just wouldn't guard it and allow them to run something not against somebody. So could be some metagame with you don't even go out and guard anything, but CSI looking to execute coming out of a timeout.
I'll tell you right now, if I was a coach, just as me being the troll I am, I might be inclined not to guard anything.
So when you see somebody twice a year, and we can't make the playoffs this year, but potentially 3 times, you don't want to give anybody any inkling of extra things that could happen.
Well, LaFaro with a good attempt from well beyond the arc. It is no good, and that final horn will sound in a Dolphins defeat. CSI drops their first conference matchup of the season to Molloy by a final score of 50-37. Dolphins drop to 2-4 on the season. The Lions improve to 4-5. For the Dolphins, they will next be in action on Monday in a non-conference matchup with Goldie Beacom. So until then, this has been Joe Foreman, and for our broadcast engineer, Antonino Cruciata, and my broadcast partner, TJ Tibbs, all of us here at the College of Staten Island, thank you for watching. Our final score, Molloy 50, the College of Staten Island 37. Next broadcast on Monday against Goldie Beacom. If you can't attend the game, be sure to join us right here on the ECC Network for that broadcast. And until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend.